for coming to Landmark's Nuart Theatre tonight for Friday the 13th, Part 6, Jason Lives. 35mm. All right, so I have a few trivia questions. Raise your hand if you know the answers, and we have some incredible prizes for you. Who can tell me what the... Okay, Paramount Pictures was kind of ashamed of these Friday the 13th films, so the film had another original title, or had a secret title. Who knows what the secret filming title was? Aladdin Sane is correct. Please come up, sir. All right, for you, we have an issue of Fangoria magazine from the summer of 1986. This had the first interview Fangoria did for this film with the director, Tom McLoughlin, and he signed it inside on his interview pages. This is for you.
Thank you.
Hope you enjoy it. Thank you. That's from my own personal collection of Fangorias. Don't worry, I have a few other ones. Don't cry for me on that. Okay, so raise your hand if you know the answer to this question. What was the exact release date of Friday the 13th, Part 6? I see the right there.
August 1st, 86.
August 1st, 1986 is correct. I was there opening day. I'm sure you were too. Please come up. Actually, I can't see you from here. Maybe you weren't born then. I'm not sure. A lot of you may not even know what 35mm is, but it's really cool. It's how we used to show films. All right, for you we have the shooting script for Jason Lives from writer-director Tom McLoughlin, and he also signed the cover for you. Please enjoy. Okay, I have one more of these babies to give out tonight.
Hey, I want it.
And this is a really tricky question, so I hope one of you knows it. Aladdin Sane was the title that Paramount said the film was under, but it actually had a different title written by the writer-director Tom McLoughlin. What was his script page titled?
Jason.
I see a hand over there.
Jason has risen.
Jason Has Risen is correct. Please come up and get your signed screenplay. Thank you so much.
Thank you for anything. Thanks.
You guys know your shit. You've all been to summer camp before. Okay, so we have some great guests tonight. I'm going to start bringing them up, and we're going to do a discussion and then give you guys some questions. First, I would like to introduce an actor from Jason Lives, Darcy DeMoss. And I'd like to bring her up. She plays Nikki in the film. I also want to tell you right now, she's in a new movie coming out later this year, I believe, from Tom Six. She stars in the new Tom Six film, The Onania Club, I think it's called. Maybe we'll ask her about that. Please welcome Darcy. Okay, next I would like to introduce the composer of the scores of the first, so many of the Friday the 13th films, Harry Manfredini. Please welcome Harry to the stage. I can't tell you how much I love his music. I know every note, every stinger, every noise. I fall asleep to this music.
Hello, darling.
Hey, how are you? Wait a second.
Okay, come up. Ooh, come up. Nice.
All right, thanks a lot. See you.
We'll have you sit here.
Over here?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay, next guest I would like, well, you know, his name's in the title, so let me just introduce him right now. Jason Voorhees. Jason Lives.
Oh!
How you been?
Great, thank
Good,
you.
good.
Really good. So happy to see you.
Jason, thanks for joining us tonight. And, you know, this guy is not just a, it's a special night because it's his birthday, so let's sing him happy birthday, please.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Jason. Happy birthday to you.
And I have something special bringing him a gift tonight.
Oh, wow.
Welcoming to the stage, his competition.
Mike Myers.
Michael, thank you for coming tonight. We play your movies all the time, let me tell you. You'll love it here at the Nuart. He'll be back later this year. We're showing Halloween in October, so you'll be back too. But I have to tell you, today's not actually Jason's birthday.
Well
He
done.
was born on June 13th, and it's July 13th.
Wow.
You're a month late, Michael. I'm sorry.
Oh, poo.
Woo! That's the last time I make this guy mad. So this actually isn't Michael. I would love to introduce the writer-director of Jason Lives, Tom McLoughlin.
Thank you. Welcome.
Okay, I have a question for each of you. Thank you so much for coming tonight. And then I'm going to open it up to audience questions because I'm sure you all have a lot of questions. I'm going to start with you, Darcy, since you're next to me. Thank you very much for coming tonight. You don't have a big part, but your character is a very important part of the film, which is one of the great things. A lot of these characters, they don't last very long against Jason, but they're so distinct. Your particular character, Nikki, though, she really goes through a lot. Like, it looks so physically strenuous, what you go through. Not just what Jason does to you, but just there seem to be a lot of stunts and physicality to your part in this film. Did you do a lot of those stunts yourself? And did this film and Jason leave you with any bruises?
Oh yeah, I had a lot of war wounds the next day, and I was really happy about it. I wore them like badges of honor. But yes, it was really super fun. It was like an I Love Lucy episode because I had my feet over my head. I was bumping into walls, and it everything was rigged to make it look like it was moving, but everything was completely still in the Winnebago, except for me, of course, and the things on strings, like the paintings and the things rattling on the trays in the Winnebago.
Nice. We love your character, so
Thank you.
It's very sad to see her go in this film. But that's kind of the joy of this film. You do like a lot of these characters, even though you know Jason is going to waste them. So, Harry, this film definitely was a different film in the series. It kind of broke a lot of new ground, and you were very steady through the first 6 films, scoring them. Now, this particular film, Tom definitely brought a gothic flair with graveyards and fog, and it definitely had a different feel, even though we're still back in the woods and we're back at camp. Did this give you, did this open the things up to you to have this kind of new playground with both the humor and the gothic tone of the film? Because I can hear it personally in your music. I study all these scores of yours.
Good, then I guess it worked, right? Oh, okay.
I think it did.
Yeah, Tom did 2 things. Well, first of all, he brought in the humor, which sort of like not existed up until that point. Plus, we also had real character. We were talking, it's oddly enough, we were talking about this movie tonight at dinner, and that it was the first time we had characters that were actually moving this story forward. But people always ask me, like, what's like your favorite scenes in all of Friday the 13th? And I, besides, certain kills, but that whole opening segment from the very beginning of the movie until the lightning bolt strikes and Jason comes back and then Horshack goes and that, to me, visually and just to score that was so much. That was such a joy visually to do, and that's where we get the idea for the idea of a gothic feel to the score. Still using the same stuff, but injecting that kind of gigantic chords.
It's an epic score, and
Yeah,
it's got a lot of great new flavors.
DSURA and things like that.
Did they ever release that score?
I'm sorry?
Have they released the score?
Yes.
They have, oh, great.
Yes, and in fact, the 6 is coming out by itself on CD and vinyl before the year's out.
Great.
Cool.
Nice.
Excellent.
I like that.
And hopefully he'll sign a Dark
Ka-ching.
Delicacies as well. He was there earlier tonight signing vinyls for, I believe, the final chapter and A New Beginning.
Right. 6 is the next one.
Sweet.
And we should be close, maybe September or October somewhere.
Excellent. We'll be listening. Now, Tom,
Sure.
on this particular Friday the 13th, you were given something that no other filmmaker, I believe, at the time had been given, and that was the ability to write and direct a Friday the 13th, which in a way you were able to bring a vision, a stronger vision, I think, than the other productions before you. How did you luck into getting this prime position to not only, coming into a series that was somewhat disreputable, but actually being given such a creative freedom to create a film that is such a departure while still delivering? I mean, the body count in this movie is huge. You give us everything we would ever want from a Friday the 13th, but you really amped it up, and you just, how'd you get that, so lucky to get this position?
Well, unfortunately, part of the luck was that the previous one didn't work for the audience, and I felt bad about that, but it wasn't Jason. So basically what Paramount said is, well, we usually wait 2 years, but fuck it, we're going to put one in production right away and see if we can get our audience back. So I had this kind of wonderful thing where, he said, just bring him back. I don't care how you bring him back. This is Frank Mancuso Jr. Just bring him back. And I said, well, I've been writing comedy. Is there any way I can put comedy in? He goes, you can make fun of Jason? I go, no, I just want the characters to have humor. And I want to have kind of a satirical, I couldn't do 6 of these thinking that, I could take it that seriously. He said, okay, you got it. And I had really total creative control in that regard, which never happens. So I'm very, very fortunate to be able to do that. And he was kind of totally behind everything. I thought the fans were going to be pissed because of the humor. I thought we were risking it, and I had, as some of you probably know, introduced Jason's father at the end of the movie, and they immediately said, nah, let's not tell the audience it could go off and be Jason's dad. Let's make sure they know it's Jason, he's here to stay. So that was the only thing that kind of was, removed from the script, but everything else basically was as I wrote it in the Hollywood Forever Cemetery next to Paramount.
Oh, wow. Also, it's interesting to me that this film starts so directly. I mean, you get right to the point where immediately you bring Jason out, you bring that coffin up to us. And it reminds me a lot of your first film, One Dark Night, which I don't know how many of you have seen or are fans of One Dark Night. And how many of you would come out if we showed a midnight of One Dark Night? I hope you would all come out to see it, because Tom's debut film is just an incredible gothic, corpsey, coffin masterpiece, and it's so much is done with coffin imagery and floating coffins and erupting coffins, and then Jason Lives, immediately we have basically an erupting coffin. Was that an intentional kind of stepping thing that you were doing, or is that just coincidence?
No, One Dark Night came out of my visit to the catacombs in Paris and feeling that supernatural feeling of wall-to-wall, bones and skulls, and that was the first time I ever got supernatural fear. As much as I loved all the horror movies, especially the Universal ones, I never really experienced that. Holy shit, this is scary. So taking that idea, that's what kind of One Dark Night came off of. Friday was just the fact that I had to bring back Jason, and he was buried as far as we all knew, and that was bringing obviously the coffin into it. The tease was kind of cool that Frank came up with that idea of the actual coffin coming straight up and opening, which was very cool.
Which you have.
Yes, I do have the coffin.
One more question for you, Tom, before I open this up to the audience questions. How was it collaborating with Alice Cooper? How much collaboration did you have with Alice in creating the theme to this film?
I wish I could say I really did have a lot of collaboration with him, but the fact is that we actually tempted with some of Alice's music, a lot of different music, and then Frank said, I think we can actually get Alice, and he's going to write a song, and I said, well, can we use some of his other songs? And yeah. So he came in, and the first version was a little different than what the final Man Behind the Mask sounds like now. And that was a little more hard rock. This was a little more 80s in terms of its feeling. But other than that, we have still yet to cross paths. I knew Alice when he was Vincent, and he had a band called the Naz, and we played in Santa Monica Pier with my group at that time. And so, it was like I've never actually met him as Alice. So that's still something I've got to do.
And for everybody out there who does not know, Tom is the frontman of a garage rock band from the 1960s that has recently been resurrected, like Jason from the grave. They have a new album, Back from the Grave, I believe it's called. The band is called The Sloths. And they play in Hollywood frequently. And because you are a midnight movie audience and you're used to going out and staying up late, please come see The Sloths the next time they play at the Whiskey A Go-Go or any other awesome LA location. You will not believe the performance Tom puts on. He leaves every bit of energy and sweat and magic on the stage. If you love Jason Lives, he puts all of that excitement into his live performance. You really have to see The Sloths the next time they play here in Los Angeles. They rock. They totally rock. Now, we'll take some audience questions. Unfortunately, we don't have any microphones, so you'll have to shout them out.
So, first question is, why didn't I do part 7?
Yes.
I was asked to, and I said to Frank, I just don't have a take on this, because I don't want to do the same thing again, and repeat it. He agreed that, whatever I did would have to be different. So he said, what about Jason Meets Freddy? And I said, how can we do that? That's Freddy's with New Line. He said, well, I got some friends over there, let's see. So, a couple weeks went by and he went, nah, they're not going to do it. But you still want to do a movie? And I go, yeah, how about Cheech and Chong meet Jason? You guys got them. I said, I think it should, yeah. And he said, I don't know if our audience would go for that. And I go, I don't know, right? That's the best I can do. So yeah, nothing happened on that. And then about spoilers.
Like NDAs, like Saw twists were always online a month before the movie came out. How was that handled in the 80s, even in horror in general? Like, Freddy's gonna do this, Jason's gonna do that, Michael.
Well, we didn't have, obviously, the access to everybody could, get in and tell people what's going on. It just wasn't happening.
There were people not Netflixing and actually going to the cinema and paying for a ticket to see a movie.
I'm sorry?
There was people actually paying to see a movie to find out what happened.
Yeah, you actually had to show up.
Fangoria used to give some spoilers in their pictures, but usually it was just 1 or 2 kills would be revealed.
I just wanted to know, so Court's awesome monologue about the Indian markers, was that scripted or was that improv?
No, that was Tom. I basically said, I just have this thing where he explains something, to them that he has no idea what the hell he's talking about. And Tom Fridley, still to this day, looks like a guy that is just like snorted like, I don't know how many grams of cocaine. And I mean, from the time he wakes up to the time he goes to sleep, he's like a ball on fire.
Absolutely correct.
Yeah, so it was great to let him just, do that on his own.
All right, next question.
My name is Alex. I want to say thank you for making this movie because it's really one of my favorites.
Thanks.
It's just awesome. And when I first saw this when I was a little kid, the beginning, the opening scene reminds me of Frankenstein's monster in the book. Is that kind of what it's based on?
Oh, yeah.
And
I actually teach a directing class at Dodge College Chapman University, and what I always try to get them to understand is that artists steal. I mean, and you can say, oh, we borrow, but no, there's a wonderful book on artists stealing, and all the great sculptors and painters all have had that kind of influence. And so the Frankenstein was huge to me, and I obviously wanted to go for it, and even through the movie there's usually references of Carlos Market, and there's always something that I want to give a nod to if it was an influence, and Carpenter and obviously Cunningham.
Nice.
Are in there.
And the last question is, do you still have the headstone in your house?
Yes, I still do.
Cool.
The Debbie DeMoss.
Darcy.
Darcy.
Close.
Your kill, I heard it was like with the face going into the metal, it was filmed underwater or something?
I think our director could answer that better because I actually wasn't there. When we shot it, in a box, basically, where they had walls that moved and the top that came out, so the camera kept coming all the way around. My face was being thrown into a mirror, and CJ was so worried about working with me and hurting me, and I said, let's just go for it. It's okay. Let's just make it look as real as possible. I want to be afraid of you. So, with that being said, they actually shot the imprint.
Well, we cast your face,
Right.
so that there was like a blaster of her face, and then they heated up a mold thing and then put it underwater at the moment that it happens, which you can't tell, but it made that impression come through.
Something I didn't even know.
Oh, thank you.
Hi. First off, I just want to say thank you guys for coming. This is awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Tom, I'm a film student. The number one thing I want to do is direct horror movies, and you've been a huge inspiration to me. And I guess one thing that I've still never figured out how to get is how to get my actors to scream. Do you have any advice for that?
Scare them.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough thing. Certain people, and I've had certain actors who can't cry, certain actors that just can't do comedy. I mean, you have to cast obviously the right person. And I found in casting sessions, it's like, well, there's going to be a moment here where we need a blood-curdling scream. Can you give that to us? And if they do it in, audition, you have it. If somehow on the day they don't, there are a lot of people that come in and do screams, and you put it right into their mouth in post. That scream, you just have to get it from somebody else. So there are certain people just are really good at it, and other people aren't. So as I said, cast or get somebody to come in and post and add it in after.
What was the movie? Is it Blowout? Where he's recording sound effects.
Yeah.
John Travolta.
And the last line of the thing was the actual scream of the girl that got killed, and they put it in the movie.
Yeah.
And he goes, "Yeah, that's a really good scream." And it was actually his girlfriend. John Travolta movie.
Yeah.
Without dancing. That was amazing.
Hello, how are you? I actually have a question that touches off your last answer about how you say artist steal. I'm a filmmaker from Detroit, and I'm currently making my second feature. And after that, I plan to make a slasher film.
Mm-hmm.
What would be your recommendation of doing something that's, how do you do something that's not been done a million times?
Well, I felt that about when I jumped into the Friday. It's to be a filmmaker at that time, in the 70s through the 80s, that's all film, God bless John Carpenter and Halloween. I mean, once that was so successful, and I don't think any of us would have had jobs if that hadn't worked as great as it did. But everybody said, no matter what you came in with, to get, just get me teenagers, get me a knife, get me a guy in a mask and a forest, you got a picture. And so there was so many, it was incredible. But every so often somebody will come along, with something where they take that same sort of formula and twist it enough so that people go, yeah, I kind of know what this is, but this is a little different. I chose to do it with comedy. Somebody else might want to do it, with a particular age group, or you could, set it in someplace other than a forest. There's so many different choices, but you got to kind of, go with what your gut tells you.
I have one follow-up question on that.
Yeah.
I recently got a really bad review on my movie, and I think it's awesome. And my friends think I'm horrible for promoting the bad review. I actually had someone go online and said that they couldn't get all the way through it because they are not into watching sociopaths slice up people. How is that a bad review?
I'm not going to answer that one.
First of all, you got a review.
Yeah.
That's a positive.
No such thing as bad publicity.
Right. That's.
That's what I was hoping to hear.
Yeah, no, I mean, you got a review. The guy who reviewed it, does he have any movies out?
That's just one
And their
person.
story.
Thank you.
We have time for one more quick question. I hate to do this to you, but we got to get the show started in a moment.
This one's for Harry. Speaking of, influences.
Didn't I see you earlier today?
Yeah, you did. I was at the.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
This is a question I forgot to ask you. What are some of your influences
in your music making?
Some of my influences?
Who'd you steal from?
Okay. As a kid, I was raised listening to Puccini, Italian opera, and my brother was into progressive jazz, which was Stan Kenton. And I went to college thinking that Stan Kenton was the end of music and Puccini was all there was. And all at once I discovered Bartók and Stravinsky and all the incredible composers at that time. So when I got there, I realized there was a shitload of music that I had to learn. And so I locked myself into a room and studied scores and things like that. So all those are influences. As far as composers, film composers go, there's a lot of them that have influenced me. You can't be a film composer without being influenced by Bernard Herrmann, of course. And but there's a guy named Michael Small who did Marathon Man, and I really liked his approach to the film. There's a thing about scoring films. As a composer, you're really about 85% dramatist. You're not really a composer. Your job is to tell the story, to help Tom tell his story. In this case, he was both the writer and a director, but you want to make sure you've got the audience. None of you care what chord I used, what chord progression I came up with, how good my counterpoint was, how good my orchestration was. You don't care about any of that. All you care about is, was I scared? Did I cry? Did I laugh? Was I moved? Did I jump? Everything like that. My job is to make you feel what he's trying to visually show and what he wrote and saw. And that's what my job is there. And there are certain composers who really do that well, Michael Small being one of them. But there's a lot of them. I would have to go through them all. I mean, I've emulated, I don't want to say stole from or borrowed, but I emulated a lot of different people. A lot of people think the original Friday was Psycho, but it really, I used Ludoslavsky, Penderecki, who's I'm throwing these names out. I hope that some of you will go home and go, I had to listen to some Penderecki, because you'll hear every horror film you ever heard. You'll go like, oh wow, I didn't know he stole from him. And also a guy named Jerry Goldsmith, who also influenced me a lot at that time. Sorry for the long answer.
Once again, I want to thank you all for joining us. I believe Tom. Oh yes.
We want to thank all of you for coming out tonight, because you guys are what makes us come out. So thank you.
I actually am going to get a picture of all of you tonight for us.
What are you doing?
A photo, the most important element to this whole thing.
Okay, this is going to be for everybody out there.
Okay.
Raise your hands. Give us an excitement for Jason Lives at the Nuart. You guys are sold out, and I have to tell you guys, when Friday the 13th Part 6 opened in the summer of 1986, it opened number 2 at the box office. It did well. However, it did come in number 2 to a film which was in its 3rd week. Aliens was the ruler of the box office that summer, but I have to tell you, we ran Aliens here not too long ago, and Jason Lives kicked Aliens' ass. This is the film that has developed a cult following that everybody has to, come out to see this one. It's so special. It's so much fun. And thank you all for everything you did, all 4 of you, to make this film what it is.
We beat Howard the Duck.
And you beat Maximum Overdrive that summer. So thanks a lot. I believe Tom and Darcy may be sticking around through the film, so you might be able to ask them a question afterwards in the lobby. Once again, please put your cell phones away during the duration of the film, and we hope you love Jason Lives. Again, he lives here on 35. He lives here on Thank you.
Who is this Alice Cooper? What has she done? Do you ever wonder about Alice? One time I ever saw her played golf in Maui. It wasn't exactly what you think. And then you know that C. Alice? Who is this chick? You know, every time you want something, you go see Alice. She's always in the bathtub holding hands with some other guy. Well, now that I'm the only one with the mic.
Tell me your jokes.
Commentary track.
Good job. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. All right. Go ahead.
It's so nice that you keep doing this. You're getting to interview.
One together. They're trying to get a picture. Yeah, 2 smiles there. Yeah, that's the best one there.